All right, next. Interesting developments happening last weekend as Michael Wagner, the CEO of Star Atlas, followed me on X, once known as Twitter, followed me and tweeted this, which I thought was very interesting. He says, "Hey, the games, caught your last video. I'm happy to jump on the show anytime to answer questions." Now, first off, I gotta admit, because of his treatment towards ERAD and because of what I talked about, if you're not aware of what's going on, you gotta catch up watching some Star Atlas content on the channel. But he gave a copyright strike to a friend of mine called the Eradicator. And the Eradicator didn't know much about Web3 gaming, but he just was spouting off opinions, even if some of them were like him trying to tell you what Web3 was, and some of those things were not factual, which, you know, this happens from time to time. I think it was still wrong for Michael Wagner to copyright strike a dude that had 12,000 subscribers, small channel, little fish in the big pond of life, and for a CEO of a developer to actually go after somebody like that, I thought was irreprehensible. I thought was like, wow, right? And I say this almost every time I talk about Star Atlas, because I got to realize he's the captain of the boat, you know, and he comes off a little douchey at times. And so very interesting last weekend as Michael Wagner follows me and says, "Hey, the games, caught your last video. I'm happy to jump on the show anytime to answer questions." And I kind of was like, I don't know what to think of it. Part of me is like, wow, that's cool, the dude. He's being the bigger person. I was like, hey, this guy's giving off douchey vibes. And this dude is just like, hey, man, like, you got any questions? I'm going to take the time to jump on and talk to you. So, like, I got to give him some applause for that. I do. I think that's a very... I think that's a very evolved thing to do of a human being, is to take somebody's criticisms and just be like, all right, let me just talk to this guy directly. So for that, I do applaud you, Michael. However, I need to man up, I think. And I wanted to tell you guys, because the interesting thing is he followed me. And I find this, I'm always open. I'm always open with my fan base. He followed me and I did not follow him back. And I don't know where that's coming from. I feel like it's a loyalty to my friend Erad, and I don't know if that is wrong or right. And I don't know if me not following him back is like a thing that I should be ashamed of. I should probably be the bigger man and follow him. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think I should follow him or not? I actually need guidance on this. I need some type of help. Maybe I should, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know exactly what to do. It's strange. I'm conflicted. Yeah, I feel like I need to stand with my friend Erad on this, because until I get like some proper explanation or some type of explanation from him, I kind of still have this viewpoint. But then I feel like I'm the smaller person because I'm not taking the time out. Because I honestly, it's kind of crazy. At this moment in time, do not have the desire to talk to Michael Wagner. Now, perhaps that's because I have not dove deep enough yet into Star Atlas. And perhaps my own opinions about Michael Wagner are the reason. And perhaps I really need to look at that as a person. Like, I really need to look at that as a person. But I'm old school. And I like to be a dude that stands by his friends. And so, like, at the moment now, I'm standing with Erad and I'm not following. And, you know, I am apologizing if that comes off really douchey. I'm really not trying to be a douche. I'm just making this decision and in such a manner that I have really thought about this. You know? Doug says, in the schoolyard, we play by prison rules. What's up, Daft Digit? How are you doing? So what do you guys think? Put a 1 in chat if you think I should follow him, and a 2 in chat if you think I should not. I'm just curious where your headspaces are, because I'm confused and I need help. So a 1 if you think I should follow, and a 2 if you think I should not. Backspaced is always a diamond in the rough, saying 3. I love that. I love that answer, backspaced. A lot. Nikki saying 2 as well. Yeah, I feel like friendship with Erad. I understand why Michael looked at what Erad said and took offense to it, because he's taken a lot of time to make this game for people and has gotten a lot of like flack and a lot of hatred because of metaverse and the way a lot of people view Web3, and I get that. But on the other hand, to then take it a step further and copyright strike Erad for expressing opinions, even though some of the opinions were not factual about the space, I think is over the top, right? I mean, like, at the end of the day, that kind of won out. Like, that was my logic. That was my thought process there, is that, like, I like that he opened up like this. I like that he took the time out to acknowledge me directly. I even hearted it. And you can see it's got a bit of traction. Like, there are people out there that want me to interview Michael. And if I did, my first question would be is very unrelated, and people would initially just not understand the history and probably not stay with the video. Because right off the bat, what I would want to know is why he did what he did to the Eradicator. That's it. That'd be my first question. And I'd really want to kind of analyze that. And I feel like if the answer was not to my liking, I probably would stop the interview right there in its tracks and not want to interview him. Because I feel like if he were to answer in such a manner where it was not like an acceptable answer for me, I would not then be interested in the game in entirety. And the crazy thing is, perhaps that needs to happen. You know? Perhaps farts, says Luigi. Do whatever feels right, says Aether. But you're interested in the project and want to give it a chance. That's fair. If Erad is your friend, he'll understand. Yeah, I think he would. I think he'd love this. I think if Erad were here and he was hearing this, he was here earlier this morning, I think Erad would absolutely love this and tell me to do it. But I'm very conflicted, man. I'm like really conflicted, because I'm like, I grew up in the age where, like, well, I don't know, it's any age really, where you just stand up for your friends, where you're there. Whoa, let's go. Thank you, bro. That's a value-added gameplay overload. The alerts aren't going off for you guys, are they? Damn it. The alerts aren't even going off. Like, the music's not even going off for you guys. Damn it. Pepe, you must fix this sound. I am very upset with you. Tired of these alerts not going off. Did you get some? Okay. Thank you. Let's go. Anyhow, I'm getting mad at Pepe right now. I am getting mad at you on this very heartfelt video. He had a great performance earlier, and now I'm just like ripping into him. Anyway, thank you. Let's go. I appreciate your support, bro. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I don't know what to do. I'm going to continue to not know what to do. I think eventually I'll get to the point where I will want to interview him. I think that Star Atlas has the best chance to make it for Web3 gaming. And I'm rooting for it, and it's unpopular. It's an unpopular opinion. But I think asset ownership, digital asset ownership is awesome. And the fact that you own it, I think it makes it that much better, and that third parties can't corrupt it at all. There was a Star Atlas video here that's not in the correct order, Pepe. Let's look at today's topics, and you were supposed to have it. Let's check it out here. This is, by the way, this is the new release, 2.1.9. Maybe Explodo. What's up, Explodo? Good to see you. first off, yes, we're gamers, and that wasn't. That was a cinematic, which also Star Citizen does as well. Let's be fair. Star Citizen does the cinematics as well. They start off with the cinematics. They did sucker me into this because you got like this car that I never liked. You got this like hover car that I never liked, and they did it in such a manner, like a retro cool way with like the old dash and that kind of like that vibe. I like the music. The alien cat, not a big fan of cats, but I was like, okay, alien cat. And then I realized it was cinematic, and I was waiting for gameplay. And what did they do? They hit it with gameplay. That is actually a plus. I've watched enough to know that the physics are pretty damn good. Okay, like I've seen enough flying to think, okay, we've got to start here with the physics. So right off the bat, I know the physics are pretty good. I'm not a big fan of the arcadey look, okay? If they can insert more of this vibe in with it, I'm down with it. This here would be the gameplay. And I've seen gameplay very similar to this. It's not far off the mark. And again, like that style, it's way arcadey. Like arcadey shooter on this, not my jam so much, but perhaps it will continually evolve, right? This is such an early like space with, I want to say that the funding is so new, the way in which these types of Web3 games are being funded, so new. And such a development, just such a new area of game development that there's really no Web3 title that has done it. I feel like this would be the one that could do it. When I see this though, I'm not into the arcadey shooter, right? I like a little bit more realism than this. Okay. The flight looks good. The sounds have been upgraded. They still need a little touch. And again, this is my constructive criticism. When I do this, some Star Atlas people get so mad when I do this. But I did the same shit in Star Citizen at the very beginning. At the very beginning, I was like this. With Star Citizen, I was like, tweak this sound, do this, make it look like this. This is what we want. This is the gameplay. I did this at the very inception of Star Citizen in the same manner that I'm doing it now for Star Atlas. And I'm seeing the same kind of hate that I saw for Star Citizen that I'm seeing for Star Atlas. So it's kind of like this deja vu moment for me. Like I'm reliving it, but with a game that has the digital asset functionality to it, which is awesome. And again, that's debatable. A lot of people don't agree with that opinion. I get where people are coming from on that. I've just done a lot of research on it. I personally feel like there's tangible value in digital assets. Other people would say there's not. But, you know, it's just, I feel the natural progression towards where you're going to see gaming go. That's my personal opinion. It's not popular. I'm not a big fan of this arcadey shooter style. Getting better. I'll tell you what though, it got a hell of a lot better from where it came from. When they were first popping it out, I was like, now where I'm seeing it at, it's in a better state. So I do think you're going to see progression. Also, the cool thing that I'm seeing is you're seeing developmental progression to where we just started with the hangar, and now you're seeing other areas that are playable. So they added racing first. Again, it's interesting how things develop in this manner with sci-fi gaming when you're talking about these projects, when you're comparing Star Citizen with Star Atlas. It's very polarizing too, because you'll get a lot of Star Citizens that are upset with me making these analogies. You get a lot of people in Star Atlas, they get upset with me. Sci-fi is really polarizing area. It's a polarizing genre. People are so very passionate in the sci-fi space. I love that about sci-fi. I love that people take sides. I just love the heart. Like, a lot of people get upset, and you know, half the time it's because they're so goddamn passionate about their fans. They're hardcore fans. Sci-fi has some of the most hardcore, just beautiful fans out there. Absolutely love it. So the polarization is there. Yeah, yeah. Okay. You know, and you're going to see this too. You're going to see a lot. This is a scam. You're going to see this Star Atlas is. You're going to see a lot of comments like that as well. And I would just say kind of what I said with Star Citizen is that they were through some rough times and they continued to build. And because they continued to build and progress, and I could see it, and they were open, which they're starting to be. That's the really important ingredient in all this, is that the developers take time to communicate to the gamer base. Super important. When Star Citizen, when Chris Roberts and Cloud Imperium started to do that and make edited content, and it was on point and it was relatable to the fans, and the fans felt like their voices were being heard, that's really when the synergy came alive and the revenue started pouring in. And kind of very similar to what I'm saying with Star Atlas right now is, I do see progress. I don't think it's a scam. I think you got people building here. I'm seeing the progression in the same manner. I'm seeing sometimes the progression happening faster, which is crazy. In a bear market, they continue to build. How much cash they still have left, I'm not sure. I saw Star Atlas token go up huge. I don't know if Star Atlas token going up huge benefits them at all. I'm sure they hold Star Atlas token, so they could possibly cash Star Atlas token out to get more funding. I'm not sure because I don't know the tokenomics of the Star Atlas coin. I don't know. So I'm not going to speak about or speculate anymore other than what I just said. They might have more funding now, but at the point in time we were talking about 2 months, it was longer than that. I think it was about 4 months ago. We were saying we were speculating that they had about 9 million left. And that they didn't have a lot. Now, again, the speculation, you know, I think they should be open with their financials. That possibly they are. Possibly they're open right now with their financials. Perhaps their white paper, which describes everything that the Star Atlas token is, explains this. I've taken enough time to gloss over it. Not enough time to seriously dive deep into the white papers of the Star Atlas token. But I would assume, and again, speculating, and I'm going to leave it at this, that perhaps they own Star Atlas token, and they can use the most recent pump. I think it went up to 50 cents, which is crazy because it was down to like a penny or two. And perhaps they can cash some in for future funding for the project. And now the runway is clear, and they've got the ability to keep going for many, many, many more years. The point, though, is that they're building. Regardless, they're building. Appreciate that. Oh, I finally see a human's face. Okay, cool. Wow, that's a big ship right there, buddy. Woo! I like this. I think they did a good video here. I like it. All right. And it is playable, by the way. There is playable content. And the gameplay that you're seeing there. I don't, as far as the shooter aspect, I don't know if that's in the game now. but I know that the racing is. And from what I've seen of the racing, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Some of the ships, I'm not a huge fan of the design, but there's others that are really sexy looking that I love, and the fact that you own them in the form of an NFT, pretty awesome, pretty awesome. So I'm gonna keep following it. I'm gonna keep reporting on it, and you know, maybe Michael, maybe one day. But you know, like I sincerely hope Michael understands where I'm coming from. You know, I think eventually yes. I think eventually yes. I'm going to interview him, and I want to see the origin point. I want to understand the impetus behind Star Atlas. You know, like a lot of questions that probably are somebody's going to see me talking about right now and just, you know, do that for me, unless it's already out there. Generally speaking, when I interview somebody, I take the time out to try and find out who the person is first. I think that's most important. And I think a lot of interviews focus on like, oh, tell us about the new things in the game, or, oh, tell us about the new game mechanics and the loops, and tell us about, you know, the specifics of, you know, the engine. And, you know, it gets very technical in a lot of interviews. I like to start out my interviews actually just feeling the feels and knowing the person. Like, I want to know, like, when Michael thought of this idea, or was it him that thought of this idea? Like, what was the impetus behind it? Was it the money? Was it the crypto? I know he's a financial guy. If it was, hey man, that's his gig. That's what he likes. You know, like, I don't necessarily think that's coming from a good place. The gamer in me kind of, if he would answer that way, would be like, eh. The financial dude, the trader guy would understand it, you know, because that type of gameplay happens in EVE Online all the time. That type of economic gameplay happens all the time. And one of the cool things I like about Web3 is that, you know, in EVE Online, I always wanted to like own the assets and have it benefit me in the real world, because I just was an armchair warrior and I had spreadsheets, and that was fun gameplay to me. And to some people, they're like, oh my God, DG, you're insane. But like, I understand that gameplay. You know, when you're a trader in EVE Online, you're looking at charts, you're looking at the volume, you're looking at the prices. You've got your costs, you've got your projected margins, where you're going to sell it, the locations, the logistics. Everything about that type of gameplay was fun. I used to love taking a freighter like a Charon or an Obelisk, and I would fly it all around New Eden, and I would be very careful where I went, and I would just pepper orders all over the place and watch them roll in every day and make millions of ISK. And I thought to myself, wow, would it be cool if like this had a tangible effect on my real life? Because I was so successful at it. Because it was so fun for me to wake up and see, you know, what I achieved as a trader. That was viable, economic, fun gameplay. And I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool if you could take it to the next level and do that so that it actually benefits you in the real? And that's where I think that symbiosis comes in, that I enjoy, that I appreciate, that I like in gaming, that I don't think the majority of people do. I don't know why. A lot of people say, well, that's work. And I understand where those comments are coming from. But to me, that is fun. That's fun. Call me sick and twisted, but I love that gameplay. So I think after I got to learn about Michael Wagner and see where this idea came from, I would then talk about, you know, where he sees Web3 gaming going. Like, does he see the adoption? Does he truly feel like it's an uphill battle and that adoption is hard? I feel it as a content dude that focuses on Web3 gaming. I see an uphill battle. I see it in all the comments here. I feel it. I just feel it from my own audience. And I see a couple people that are kind of like in line with my way of thinking here. There's some people that are like, hell yeah, DG, good for you, just telling people how you feel about the space, right? And I see a lot of people that are very upset because there were so many rug pulls. There were so many scams in the space where people were just legitimately like evil, taking your money. And I understand that the space is it's always going to be and it's sci-fi. So you got the polarization of sci-fi fans, you got the polarization of like people that, you know, you got gamers versus crypto bros, which it doesn't have to be that way. It could be like it doesn't have to be that way at all, but it just tends to be like people like to fight. But it would be an interesting interview. I think one day I will, Michael, and if you're watching, maybe one day I will take this to a deeper level. I can feel myself gravitating there. I can feel myself gravitating there.